Okay guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, yada yada. I gotta tell you, I started off this morning a little bit low on energy. But now, obviously, I think it goes without saying I've found a little bit of motivation here. And so I am on top of the reports, I'm on top of what's coming out here. Let me give you guys all the updates in the Charlie Kirk situation as the manhunt continues. We got a bunch of video clips and information now surfacing, but first I want to clear up some confusion because obviously misinformation spreads fast in moments like these. It was a clearly and understandably chaotic scene, and initially people online were sharing clips of a man being arrested at the event, handcuffed, led away.
Shoot me! Shoot me! Was that you? We don't know if it's him or not.
And at first, people thought that this was the shooter. We even had reputable outlets kind of alluding to that fact, claiming the suspect was in custody. Obviously, this went viral and spread all over social media. But a few hours ago, police have confirmed that he is in fact not the shooter. We don't yet know the circumstances as to why he was apprehended. Maybe he said something, maybe he did something. We don't know what role he played or why he was detained, but the fact is simple, he was not the person who pulled the trigger. I urge everybody to take that seriously, to acknowledge it, and leave this man alone, despite the fact that people have identified him and connected him to a previous crime. In this particular case, there's no confirmed connection, and some people have been spreading false accusations, so let's get that out of the way right off the bat. And now let's move into what we actually know. So we do now finally have confirmed videos of the shooter. We have 2 videos, in fact. I'll go ahead and play those.
Get right up.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying.
Huh.
He just ran from over, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in, and now he's right there. Just saying,
So in the first clip, you can see an individual perched up on top of the rooftop in the distance. The individual seems to be wearing black from head to toe, significantly far back on top of a roof, and this is eyewitness of the suspect, clearly in a position to shoot. I gotta tell you, I'm a little bit frustrated with the fact that once again, there's a suspicious individual on a roof during one of these events in a clear shooting position, and police weren't called. I'm very frustrated that all-out pandemonium didn't break out there, but rather people just filming and saying, oh, look, a suspicious individual, but I guess you can't blame people for not doing everything they should have. And then in that second video, you see a shot being fired, or you hear the shot being fired, chaos erupts, the entire crowd drops to the ground, and then right there you can see a small little body. Maybe we'll zoom in and play it as I'm speaking here. You see a tiny little black speck pop up, spring up, and start bolting from that position. Well, that was very clearly the shooter, and these 2 clips that are now surfacing online are the only 2 confirmed videos of the shooter. So now we have some confirmed information. Let's talk about what we actually know. We can pull up satellite images, aerial photos of the Utah Valley University campus, and from what we can gather, it seems the individual is on this building right over here. This building is known as the Losi Center at Utah Valley University, and if we zoom in on the Google Maps, it's where the UVU Career Development Center, the UVU Women's Success Center, and the UVU Veteran Success Center is, just to add as much detail as possible. Now, I think we can definitely confirm that this is the building if we take a side-by-side here, and just look at the architectural structure of this building. You can tell that it pretty much lines up one-to-one. You'll see the shooter perched, and there's multiple levels that kind of step upwards. The side wall also seems to be roughly the same color, an orangish red stone or brick. And Fox News is reporting that this was roughly 200 yards away from where Charlie Kirk was posted during the event.
I want to bring in now, this is actually, let's start with this new statement from Utah Valley University. We had a speaker, Charlie Kirk, invited by a student group, Turning Point USA, speaking on campus today at noon. At about 12:20, shots were fired from a building about 200 yards from the speaker. Now, this is new. According to the best of our knowledge, the individual was hit and was taken away immediately by his security personnel. That individual, of course, is Charlie Kirk. Campus is closed for the rest of the day, and our campus police have a suspect in custody. So that is new information. 200 from a building, 200 yards from the shooter is the newest information from the university, and obviously
I actually have a vantage point. You can kind of see here, this is basically what the scene would look like from the perspective of this heinous murderer who was perched up on that rooftop. So yeah, obviously not exactly an easy shot. That's where the round was fired from. And naturally, people are already jumping to conclusions and making assumptions. There's claims that this had to have been a professional hit by a trained sniper, maybe even a state-level operation or foreign state operation. Now, I understand why people would jump to that conclusion. It does look precise, it looked calculated, but I don't think we should get carried away just yet. A 200-yard shot with a high-caliber rifle is not necessarily impossible. It doesn't take a Navy SEAL or CIA assassin to make that happen. With basic training, patience, and a decent rifle, I think that distance is achievable even for, somebody who's more casually trained. But again, I don't blame people for asking questions because I'm sitting here asking all kinds of questions. Firstly, how is this allowed to happen? How does someone once again manage to perch up on a rooftop at a major event like this with a weapon clearly visible and not get identified or stopped before pulling the trigger? And really, I think it shows you the sad state of affairs in politics. It's not just the president of the United States or any major Republican candidate that now needs to be exceedingly careful and needs to sweep these areas, needs Secret Service doing a full perimeter in detail. There's clearly a target on any high-profile conservative, and this really starts to put it into clear perspective just how dangerous it is to be engaging in free speech in these public venues. But that right there basically covers all the physical details as we know so far. Now, another crazy part is that somehow this individual was able to be up there and then scale all the way down the building and somehow managed to escape. The suspect is still at large from what we understand, unless things change as I'm recording this video. Now, I'm remaining faithful that hopefully this individual will be apprehended soon. There must have been cameras everywhere. Someone must have noticed an individual walking around in all black-clad gear. We don't have any updates yet, but we do know that Kash Patel was on this thing immediately. The FBI was mobilized on scene pretty much right after the shooting. Police officers were already on scene. And we're also getting civilian footage showing the manhunt in progress.
There are about 6 armed men in the backyard of a home right next to UVU campus. Apparently they are looking for another suspect. Maybe another suspect has not been apprehended.
That video shows heavily armed officers moving through a suburban neighborhood near the university. It seems they're scouring a nearby forest. We don't know if authorities have intelligence as to where the individual is or where they suspected the person to have fled, but this is clearly a major operation. This is a full-blown manhunt. And not only is the FBI on every single angle here, but so are internet sleuths. And here comes another point of interest, I guess you could say, a very, very suspicious online post. We've got an account here on X, which operates under the name Omar with the X handle reading as Najra Galves. Not exactly sure. There has been an individual identified, potentially connected to the account. It seems to be a trans identifying individual, but of course I'm not going to show the photo just yet because nothing is confirmed. But basically, here's the suspicious part. Roughly 24 hours before the shooting, this was posted on Omar's account. Quote, "Charlie Kirk is coming to my college tomorrow. I really hope someone evaporates him literally." And then follows up by saying, "Let's just say something big will happen tomorrow." So those are obviously not small words. Could this possibly be the shooter himself telegraphing his intent? Could it be somebody with information, somebody close to the shooter? We don't know yet, but clearly this is impossible to dismiss considering the timing. And I can pretty much guarantee you the FBI is on this. So as you can see, there's a lot of moving pieces here. The story is moving quite quickly. I think not only is this the biggest story since the president was shot at, but it's probably one of the biggest stories in modern American history. So you can imagine the manhunt here is going to be of the highest priority. And I'm just sticking to the hope that there's no chance, there has to be zero chance that this individual simply walks away from this. I hope they track this individual. This was an act of terror, a political assassination in broad daylight. It cannot go unpunished, and I simply have faith that this terrorist will be caught. It's only a matter of time. But those are the updates as we currently have them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.